Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Villains on the Rebirth server with our level 9 Mastermind, Nightmare Lass. And you may notice we're a bit far beyond where we left off. Last time we had a few hundred XP, I think, to go to get to level 9. We've now passed level 9 and we're on our way to level 10. And the reason is that I filmed an episode, a large chunk of an episode, probably about 15-20 minutes worth of one last night, and a thunderstorm rolled through, and I had the headphones on, so I didn't even really hear it coming, and it was in the distance, but somehow or other it hit something, and we lost power for just a few minutes, and that was enough to crash, of course, turn the computer off and everything. When I came back on, the video file had been corrupted. So, unfortunately, I don't have a record of any of that. So, you didn't get to see me get to level 9, and also, we are working for this guy named Dr. Graves now, and he's having basically the equivalent of a great supervillain contest. Great Supervillain Contest is a storyline that was written by Dennis Maloney for the game Champions back in like 1983, 84, 85. And I played it twice, once with my high school group, and then later when I was in college and I had a different group of players who had heard about the Great Supervillain Contest. And they'd heard all these great stories from my old high school friends and from me and everything, and they'd always wanted to play it. I snuck it in. They didn't realize it was happening until they'd gotten part way through, and they heard the name of the villain, and the guy was like, "Wait a minute, is this the Great Supervillain Contest?" And I just smiled, and they were like, "Yes." And I made it different, so that they wouldn't know exactly how it was going to end. But it's a super fun adventure in Champions. In any case, our character has been brought here by Dr. Graves to register for a competition that he's going to have amongst all of us. And he's told us there's some mysterious backer, and we have to do this to impress the backer. So he brings us to a particular location, which is right here. And then he is going to come in and meet us and tell us what we need to do. So unfortunately, you guys missed the first time I tried to do this. This is one of the newer story arcs, and unfortunately, there's some cool parts to it, but one of the things I don't like about these newer story arcs is there's just so much dialogue with the NPCs, and they tried to give them character and personality and make it interesting, and instead it's just like, please let me get on to the next step. Anyway, first we register. We'll insert a hail sample because I'm not giving him my blood, and it starts analyzing, and it says abundance of epidermis clusters and so forth, afflicted with severe dandruff, and I'm like, hey, I don't have dandruff. Genetic analysis, missing one strand of DNA. What do you mean I'm missing DNA? Then it says the subject matches the genetic match from the database of Interpol showing two known matches. And two known masters, how is that possible? Psychological profile, subject shows signs of narcissism normally associated with sociopathic disorders. Negative traits evidence are delusions of grandeur, check. Persecution complex, not really. Poor impulse control, check. Exceptional gullibility, a little bit. Hey, when have I ever been gullible? Uh-oh. And this thing blows up. We step away from the controls, and now Dr. Graves shows up, and we talk to him. And he says, do not congratulate yourself too quickly. That was the first of many tests you will need to pass if you wish to win the right to be our faceless master's protege. What would have happened if I failed? You would have made yourself useful in other ways. For instance, I could likely use any of your undamaged limbs that still remained. However, there will be time to pursue that line of thinking later. In the meantime, we'll need to gather up the rest of the candidates. Others, rules. I want to know the answers now, Graves. And he says, my, rather demanding, aren't we? Allow me to point out that currently you are not in a position to make any demands. Perhaps things may change in the future, but for now you will be following my instructions. Now follow me so we can gather the rest of the people I saw Omnicore nearby. Now this is, again, why I don't like these missions. So, he says follow me. And now I can't follow him because he's following me. So how can I follow him if he's following me? Right? And that's really frustrating. You have no idea where to go. Now, following City of Heroes metagaming logic, I assume the deeper into the dungeon you go, the closer you get to where they want you to be. So I'm just going to keep going deeper in, right? And I actually did this part last night right before the power went out. But the reality of this is that it's badly designed from the perspective of a new player, right? This is a level 9 mission. This could be somebody who's brand new to the game. How are they going to know where to go? And when he says follow me and then just stands there trying to push at you like he's doing, as a new player, I'd be like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Right? And it's really unfortunate that they decided to do it this way. In the old story arcs, it's all chunks of paragraphs, and what you're doing in missions is fighting and clicking on glowies, which is what the engine is capable of. This stuff with the dialogues and dialogue trees, it's not really capable of that. So all it does is it looks fancy, but it ends up not being actually any better than the old way, and in fact, I think quite a bit worse. Anyway, Omnicore says, "You're to be one of my rivals. You? If you're any indication of the type of competition I am to expect, then it would seem this contest has ended before it has begun. I couldn't care less what simple beliefs you hold. What was it again? Nightmare Lass? The fact remains that I am by far your superior on an intellectual level, and by the looks of you in a physical form as well. These indisputable facts are all that is important. So, you plan to beat me with these pathetic hollow threats?" She says, "You will see how pathetic my threats are when you're staring at your new legs on the other side of the room, wondering where your torso went. Care for a demonstration? If it means actually doing something, then sure." She looks at Dr. Graves with what you believe to be glaring hatred behind the mask, and then she says, "I will not let someone like you ruin my chance of gaining unimaginable power. We'll finish this another time, Nightmare Lass." Okay, I'm looking forward to it. And then Zephyr comes around, and she says, "How dare you, both of you? I will no longer tolerate anything from either of you," glaring at Dr. Graves. "I may not be allowed to kill these miscreants, but I will not lower myself to speaking with them any longer." So it's what I don't like about this is it's basically the story of the NPCs, and you're just watching. Right? We don't really get any options to be a character here. Give me 3 or 4 choices where I can be nice, rude, or neutral toward them. Nope, it's all just next, next, next. So whatever quote you have down here doesn't matter, because he's just going to go on to his next line of dialogue. He says, "I can't believe you let her talk to you like that." Well, I couldn't do anything else because the game won't let me, right? You shouldn't let her just get away with it just saying, "Who are you supposed to be?" He says, "Me, I'm Zephyr. Like the wind." "You named yourself after the wind?" No, no, no. I am the wind. Like the whole whoosh, ha ha ha. Crash your ship into the shoal and you're going to drown? Boo-hoo, now cry your eyes out. That kind of wind, And man, I gotta say, the kind of thing never gets old. I'm telling you. So you're telling me you're the Zephyr Wind? Yeah, I thought that was pretty clear from the first couple of times I said it. Whatever. Oh yeah. And I'm also the one who's going to kick your butt in the competition too. Wait, why is the wind competing for the prize? Meh, I got nothing better to do. Ever since mankind got all technological, that robo freak, and I guess he's talking about Graves, or maybe Omnicore, it's hard to cause all kinds of pain and sorrow and all that junk. Stuff like making widows or blowing down houses or flipping up a gal's skirt. Oh well. I still do that one. Anyways, gotta get to the point. One day, I turned myself into, I am no longer entertaining this conversation with you. So it's like even the developers knew you're going to get bored with all this pitter-patter, and they make you say, "Yeah, you're boring me." Right? Because they know by now they're boring you. I really don't understand why they structured these missions this way. So now we have to talk to Dollface, who I assume is going to be further in. Notice they didn't give me any instructions to come further in, so I'm just taking the guess, because I know how these missions go, that I'm supposed to go further in. And there she is. Right? Now, how would you have known she was back there unless you understand City of Heroes mission logic? And is a new player going to understand City of Heroes mission logic yet? Probably not, especially since many of the first missions were outdoors. And this may be the first warehouse we've been in the entire game if we just started at level 1 with this character and never played it before. So how are we supposed to know to click open that door and come in here? And that's one of the reasons why I don't really like the structure of these newer missions. It's almost like it assumes that everybody playing has played a whole bunch of City of Heroes before, even though you can never assume that with a level 9 character, because this might be your very first. She says, "Oh, you're not going to hurt me, are you? That depends. Are you Dollface?" "Who's Doll?" Dollface stops short, and she's interrupted by Dr. Graves. Yeah, I'm Dollface. "You're one of the other contestants, I'm guessing." And I say, "Look, kid, this is for grown-ups. Why don't you go home?" Now here's another assumption. How do they know I didn't make up a supervillain who's a kid? I have a friend who had made up a villain character called Delirium, who's really short, shorter than Dollface, walks around wearing a skirt and funny clothes, and is like 16 years old. So now a 16-year-old is going to say, "Look, kid," to another 16-year-old. Again, not feeling it on these types of missions. Dollface glares at me. "Hey, pal, I'm older than I look, okay? Probably older than you from the looks of it. And who the heck are you anyway, turning your nose up at me, huh?" "I'm known as Nightmare Lass," and she says, "Ha. Well, yeah, I can see yourself calling yourself that. So what makes you so special that you think you can beat someone? Do you shoot frogs from your eyes or something? I've no desire to reveal my powers to you. Um, my demons are standing right there, so I think she can guess what my powers are." Okay, calm down. I was just asking because I wanted to know if I was going to get grossed out if I ever had a fight against you. First of all, it's not nice to hit a girl, but if you're going to start throwing puke at people or growing spikes from your body, well, I just don't want to see that kind of thing, okay? Then how do you expect to win? Oh, that's easy. I'm going to convince everyone that I'm the best for the job. I'm very talented at what I do. I wouldn't say I'm the best at what I do, but I'm pretty darn good at it, and if that doesn't work, maybe I'll just stab you guys in the neck or something. Teehee. I'm just kidding. But you got real scared, didn't you? Didn't they, Mr. Doctor? Okay, so I doubt the doctor's going to listen to Teehee. He is so silly and a very nice man. He listens really well, too. Really well. Don't worry. I don't know you guys well enough yet. I don't know what you like to hear, but maybe one day I will, you know? So I'm guessing she's the mind control. What did you just do to him? What, little old me, Teehee? I was just to suggest him that he had a better place to be, right? So mind control. Dr. Graves said there was another person too. Maybe we should go find them. So now we have to go find Crosscut. Who I am guessing will be in another part of the dungeon here. And yes, I am calling it a dungeon because it's basically a D&D dungeon dressed up like a City of Heroes map, right? I mean, they're all like that. That's what missions are, is basically dungeons. Okay, I have no idea where Crosscut is. I'm going to leave my guys here. I'm ignoring the NPCs. I don't care about them. And let's wander around and see if we can find this guy. I mean, there's nothing here. So I'm not sure where Crosscut would be. I don't care about her. Alright, come with me, guys. Maybe he's back at the entrance? He's over here. Because it's just obvious that you would need to know that you would need that you would know you need to go back to the beginning. Okay, so she does mental powers. And he's probably... Where's Zephyr? Or did Zephyr leave? He might have got lost. Yeah, he got lost. Crosscut. So, any preference for the type of cut? A rump roast, perhaps? Some ribs? And he says... He's staring at me with gargoyle-like gaze for a moment. "Do you know you have very pretty eyes? What makes you say that?" I was wondering if I could have them. Over my dead body. Oh, you are so kind. Yeah, we're done. Now we have to talk to Dr. Graves, who's back. And he says, "Now that I have all you assembled, save for Omnicore, it's time for the proceeding to begin. I'm sure each of you have many questions." "Yes, it's time we got answers." He says, "Now your impertinence has been noted, Nightmare Lass. Now then, you'll be given a trial to test the strength of your powers, and more importantly, how you use them, and on whom. Throughout these trials, your faceless benefactor will be watching you and judging you. Once each of you has completed your test, we shall then move on to the true competition, which is probably going to be us fighting each other. I can kill them all right now if you'd like. Will that work? No nightmare lasts. That will not work. All of you are prevented from killing each other upon the threat of immediate disqualification. I'll see you soon, Graves. And out we go. So yeah, the problem with these missions is there's way too much reading and nowhere near enough action. I don't object to reading. I like missions with a decent amount of text like this, right? But I don't like having to spend more time in the mission, like 5 times as much time in the mission reading as combat. Only thing we did in that whole mission, which took us 15 minutes. Now, it took longer because I was reading it out loud to you guys, but even reading it silently would take you about 12 or 13 minutes. We had one battle. That's ridiculous. One battle in 13 minutes. I'm not playing this game not to use my character's powers. So, not a super big fan of these newer missions, and that is why. That's a great example of the kind of problem they have with these missions. So, I think I mentioned this in maybe my Scrapper playthrough, but I feel like the original contact-based missions, the ones where the story arc missions, the original story arc missions, I shouldn't have done that. The original story arc missions had, I think, the right balance of text and story and combat. More combat than story, but plenty of story and good reasons to go and do your missions. The task forces and trials often don't have enough story. It's a very thin, here's the reason you're going to go do fights, and then you go through mission after mission and battle after battle after battle with no good story to a lot of them. These newer missions, I feel like, are balanced in the opposite direction. There's too much story and not enough combat. And I feel like the thing that bothers me the most is they got the balance right in the original game, and having got the balance right, they then abandoned it to do all this other nonsense that's not as good. But, oh well. It's not a live game, so it's not like complaining about it's going to make them change, so I won't complain anymore. But there's going to be a lot more reading in these episodes. So if you guys hate that, you might want to skip on to the next episode. So, he says, I hope you paid attention to the rules, Nightmare Lass. They are quite important. Yeah, okay. It's not like we can do anything that violates the rules, so who cares? The Endisman Disciple, Nightmare Lass, before the first round of the competition begins, you must be certain that ever-present group's grasp of Arachnos has not taken notice of your festivities. Thus, I have assigned each of you the task of reducing your profile, your importance, if you will, in the eyes of those who govern the Rogue Isles. In other words, make the Arbiters believe you're not someone worth paying attention to. Okay, what do I have to do? He says, you've most likely already spoken to the Arbiters. They grant you permission to increase your powers. Although they appear to regard you as just one of the throng that litter the streets of Mercy Island, this is not truly the case. I suspect they have already taken a silent interest towards you, making your movements not as slight as you may believe. You will need to make them think you're not worth considering for the time being. As part of your challenge, I will leave the details up to you. So, we got to go talk to the Arbiter and tell him we're idiots. Right? Tell him I have to go tell him I'm stupid. That's my guess. So, you're a trainer, right? What kind of a fool question is that? Of course I'm a trainer. Yeah, you've trained me 9 times. Hold on a moment. You're Nightmare Lass, are you? Or not? You've already been granted the right to increase your powers several times. As a matter of fact, I believe I may have been the one who granted. What is this all about? I don't remember. I may have been mind-wiped. Mind-wiped? I'm unaware of any local individual who has been authorized to use those powers, let alone to use them on you. Now speak up. Who was it that mind-wiped you? I don't remember. I was mind-wiped, remember? He looks at me. To answer your original question, yes, I'm a trainer, an arbiter, to be exact. You will come to me when you feel you can demonstrate increased powers through undertaking tasks in the city. I forgot what experience means. What? How could you forget something as simple as that? Experience is gained by combat. Blah, blah, blah. Oh no, maybe you've been mind-wiped too. I have not. He snarls viciously at us. I have an idea. Let me help you, Nightmare Lass. I want you to go speak with Arbiter Unger in Port Oaks. I'm quite certain he will be more than happy to answer any and all questions that you have. Please be sure to ask him, oh, I don't know, any little thing you're slightly curious about. So, in other words, he wants me to go bother the other guy. So this is training, right? They're now teaching you how to use the ferry and how to find the trainer in the next zone, because they know that in a couple levels you're going to be moving up to that zone. All right, so this is basically more tutorial. So again, we have players we know are new enough that you have to show them how to use the ferry and find the trainers in another zone. But it didn't occur to you that when the NPC said follow me and then was following you, that it might confuse players. Now, it didn't confuse me because I know how these games work, but why wouldn't it occur to them when they were designing it that this could be a problem? I don't know. So we're now going to find Arbiter Unger. Cool music, by the way. So this is the arena, where villains could go in and find heroes who had gone into the arena in some place like Talos Island and fight them when PvP first started in the game. If you're standing before me, it must only mean you're claiming a right to increase your powers. You're in no way would be here to waste my time, right? That would be quite dangerous. Actually, Arbiter Richard sent me to you. Oh, he did he? What did he want you to ask me about? I want to know how ferries worked. You want to know how ferries work. And he sent you to ask me how the ferries work. Let me make sure I understand correctly. Arbiter Richard, rather than answer this pathetic question himself, sent you to me. And he was very specific to you that he wanted you to speak to me. No, sir, he said, speak to that brown-nosing Unger. Brown-nosing, he clenches his teeth. I see, very well. I'll answer your question, citizen. The ferries are a means of transportation, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all that. So now he's mad at Richard. Are you trying to kill him? Are arbiters allowed to do that? What? Oh, no, you mistake me. I would never lay a hand upon my fellow arbiters, even a buffoon like Richard. However, I understand he is still dealing with a problem of a corrupt police force within his purview, where the Rogue Isles police force to start winding up in the hospital after a spate of mysterious attacks. Well, I'm quite certain the police chief would want answers from Richard personally. I understand I'll be on my way. He's never going to go assault the cops in the Rogue Isles. This is all to convince the powers that be in the Rogue Isles that we are incompetent, right? So now we need to find cops. Should be kind of around here once we get into the main city. This always reminds me of like Gotham City. These are infected. Alright guys, I'm going to pause it here. I'll look for cops, and after I've defeated the cops, I will bring you guys back. Alright, we are back. We just defeated the last of the Rogue Island police that we were going after, and now we're going to call Graves. And he says, I'm not sure what was going on through your head when you decided to raise the ire of the Rogue Island police. Nightmare Last, this runs directly counterintuitive to your decision to reduce your profile. You have, however, managed to keep the eye of the police off of our activities, perhaps even Arachnos themselves. Because of this, I will not request that our faceless benefactor disqualify you this time. Yeah, it's not like I made a decision to do that. All I had was the choice to click on things, right? One shot. It's not like it was multiple choice and it gave me a bunch of options, said pick the best option to, draw attention away from yourself. I'm just following the quest line, right? And so I feel like this whole idea of them faking like you have a choice when you actually don't is far more frustrating than, look, just let me follow the storyline. Yeah, it's on rails. Who cares? It's a good story. I'll follow it. Alright, skeletons in the warehouse. It's now time for the trials to begin. Your first of several competitive events will gauge your strengths and potentially cull the weak. Let us hope for your sake that you are not the first to be culled. That will never happen. He says, while you and the rest of your and the rest were avoiding the eyes of Arachnos. I have been putting into motion all the situations that you will encounter and be judged by. You and the others return to the impromptu training grounds and utilize registration terminal to begin the competition. Oh, and you may wish to hurry, for you see the competition has already begun. Again, more silliness because you cannot lose based on speed. There's no need to hurry. I could log out right now. I'm not going to lose. We're not on a timer. There's no clock counting down. And so it's just a matter of just doing what they predetermined you to do. Right? So we're not in a rush. And it doesn't really matter how long it takes us to get there. Because we can't lose. Right? You literally cannot lose unless you fight. And we're not going to lose any fights because we have our pets and they're going to kick butt. So I will pause it here, and when we get to the mission door, I'll bring you guys back. Alright, we are back. This will be our last mission, and we are now trying to beat the other contestants to wherever we're going. So my guess is there's not going to be a race because there's going to be guys to fight, right? So you can't just run through. So there's a Skull Opportunist, so he's crashing the Great Supervillain Contest. He's going to get killed in short order. Oh, that's smart. Debuff me. Moron. Okay, let me take a look at these enhancements here. We want to reduce the endurance cost of these things. Don't need any of the rest of that. Well, I guess we could put the heals on. That's not bad. Alright, so we head forward. You see there's nobody else. It's not a race. It didn't matter how long it took us. I could play around on the enhancement screen. All candidates will register. Wait retinal scan. So it retinal scans me, and then it looks like it's a laser. It's going to shoot me, move away from the laser. Submissive rating of 5. Is that good or bad? Nightmare lasts. Once again, you have managed to survive the test. However, as before, do not laud yourself in victory laurels just yet. From this moment forward, your task will be to reach the corresponding terminal found hidden within this compound. Once you have done so, enter the code Omega 0 Terminus. The trial will be judged by your benefactor, and one final note, you're under the restriction to prevent you from killing your fellow contestants. And I gotta talk to him now. And he says, why did it have to be skeletons? I hate skeletons. Can I stick around near you? You can't be serious, Zephyr. That's not really. They're not really skeletons, you know. I don't care, man. I mean, when I made my first body, yeah, that's it. I forgot to make a skeleton, right? So then don't laugh at me. You're seriously afraid of skeletons? That's ridiculous. Look, man. If you keep making fun of me for that, I'll go back and hang out with Crosscut. Go. You say Crosscut is up ahead? Yeah, he's just around the corner. Okay. Stop Crosscut from getting ahead of me. Yeah, he can't get ahead of me. It literally does not matter what I do. He's going to be locked in some permanent animation with somebody else. There isn't a possibility that he can beat you in the mission, I don't think. Right? There's Crosscut. He's locked in an animation. I could literally, guys, I could stand here. I could stay right here, walk away from the computer, and make dinner. Nothing would change. And this is what irritates me. Why pretend we're in a rush? Right? We're not in a rush. And anybody who understands how the game works knows we're not in a rush. So, and Crosscut's not going to move until I kill both of these shield opportunists. So why even tell me beat Crosscut? He can't get ahead of me. He literally cannot. And if I were to say I'm going to let him fight these two guys, right? And I'm going to run ahead of him, I wouldn't be able to finish the mission anyway, because it doesn't let you. So again, I don't mind that there's no real option to beat him that way. It's fine. But don't pretend like there is that option. Just don't. Why even give me that instruction? Where'd Crosscut go now? Did he actually leave? And now Zephyr's not following me either, so whatever. Right, so like he can't get through the doors. So I don't know if I did what I was supposed to do or not there. Maybe I was supposed to talk to Zephyr? Let's see. And now Dollface will be in here probably, right? No? Alright, let's head back. Did I miss Crosscut? Zephyr's right there. Oh, there he is. I missed him in the dark. So you have to talk to him, right? It doesn't say to talk to him. So trick Crosscut into following me, right? But is there going to be any way for me to actually choose an option of tricking him or not? No. It's just click on the options until you trick him. If you're trying to get them to say trick or treat for the past hour, not one of these little spooks will play along. I'm not afraid to ask, but what was this trick? He says, I have the earpiece that lets me talk over the unused intercom system. It's like a little bird that sits on your windowsill that tells you all of its secrets. But this little bird tells you secrets to anyone here. My trick was to tell everyone my secrets, some of my dirty little secrets. Can I tell you my secrets, Nightmare Lass? If you give me the earpiece and tell me how to use it, I'll think about it. He says, oh, I will like telling them to you, just you alone, sharing my secrets. Here's the earpiece. All you do is say your secrets into the mic. Then, when you think it's perfect time to drop your secrets inside everyone, you just say open wide. You will first need to override the system, but that should be easy enough. So now I need to get to the intercom controls. Oh shoot, did I not click that right? I guess I did. So I don't know if we have to use this. No. Yeah, I thought I heard a glowy. There it is. Hacking it. Fight the skull blockade. So you see what I mean? Like, you can't run ahead, because if you do, there's nothing there, right? Now they've spawned out, and here comes Omnicore to deal with us as well. Meanie always gets more hurt. So now we're going to talk to her, right? No? Find the marker before the others do. Well, they literally can't find it, I don't think. I am here to confirm the winner of the first round is Dollface. She's beaten you all. Right now, remember, we came down here, there was nobody down here. She didn't beat me down here. I won. But Dollface got spawned in afterwards because you have to follow the track of what they're doing. So again, if that's the case, why make all this dialogue? I do not know what you mean to accomplish by delaying the inevitable Nightmare Lass, but Dollface is clearly the winner. I know the rules, Graves. I just want to congratulate her by saying open wide. Open wide, what foolish nonsense is? He looks in the direction of the speakers. Sorry, but it's a secret. Dr. Graves looks at Dollface. Wow. Looks like you can get a lot of cars, Dollface. You better hurry and get them. What? I had no involvement with this message in any way or form. Dr. Graves turns his eyes upon you. However, I have a good mind as to who is might be responsible for the highly coincidental announcement. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but first I'm going to win. Quickly, use the marker. Checkpoint marker, Omega Zero Terminus. Round 1, Victor, Nightmare lasts. So, like, you couldn't, like, lose the round, right? So, I don't know. I'd rather just have a mission where we go beat up skulls, to be honest. Alright, we've completed that mission. And, we're back out on Mercy Island. We can dismiss our servants, and this will stop the episode here. I'll just talk to Graves, and he will say, to say that I am infuriated by the manner in which you stole victory out from under the clear winner is, well, let's just say that's an understatement. I was looking forward to the look on your face when I told you that you'd been disqualified. So you're not a very impartial observer, are you? However, it would seem that a benefactor deemed your actions within the bounds of the contest. Therefore, as much as it pains me to say, you have officially won the first round. So we won our first round of the Great Supervillain Contest. What do they call it here? They don't actually call it that, because they can't. Nothing. Just trainers and fairies. I guess Graves will tell us what it's called. It is called the Hearts of Darkness Rogues Contest. Right? It says the Rogues Contest. But it is the GSVC, right? The Great Supervillain Contest, just done in COH's own way. In any case, we'll stop here, guys. Sorry for grousing so much about the mission structure and format, but I'm really not a fan of these newer missions. And I knew this was one of the newer ones. I didn't quite remember how wordy and verbose it was. Unfortunately, there really isn't a choice because there aren't really a lot of contacts on Mercy Island, and we need to do Mercy Island until level 10. So, anyway, we'll hit level 10 next episode, I think. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Villains on the Rebirth server.